Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the playlist of Flask. And today we are going to see the quick start guide and perform half of the quick start guide, and in the next video we will see some login stuff and sign up in database, just the introduction part to be done at the time, and then we will make a project to be sure. So what I have done for this video is that I have created a folder called quick start, and in that folder is something called hello.py. You can see that in the last video we made app.py, and the code is pretty much similar, just instead of using these parentheses directly, what I have done here is that I have specified h1 tags to be returned. But in order to run hello.py, what we need to do is that we need to first specify what is the name of our Flask application, because what Flask understand that every Flask application should have the name of app.py or wsgi.py. So we will first specify this hello.py, and before starting this, what we do is that we first also do what is necessary. And let me just tell you everything that we are doing in this code, because in the last video I did not tell you these functions. So let's just see this program line by line, because we cannot run this program line by line. So what we are doing here is that we downloaded pip install Flask. This is a full module, and what we are doing here is that we are importing a class called Flask. So Flask, it is just an implementation, and this is whole whatever you must say it is like a proper documentation, and basically all the things that are defined in the Flask are available here. You can see that we have something called underscore init.py that is also available. We will do that when we will make our projects. So this is a class called Flask, and if you are making a Flask, you need to create its object. That is what we are going to do now. In our app, we are just specifying that app is an object of a class called Flask that is taking the variable underscore name underscore. So what this name specify is that the Flask application is nothing but the file itself that is being created. That means in our case it is hello.py. For something bigger, like making a very big project, what this Flask underscore will be replaced by a perfect path of our folder wherever we are running it. So after that, we are having something called root app @app. This is a decorator, and we are just specifying an root called just a slash, and we will also see this in just a while. I'll just come back to it, and then we are having hello world, and then we are having this return statement. So in order to see what is happening, let's just go to our documentation and quickly see that what our documentation is saying on running it. We have to set Flask app is equals to hello. Let's copy this, and let's just paste this, because this is gonna be a lot of work to do. And then what we are going to do is that we are going to say Flask, and then we are gonna say run, Flask run. It will just take a couple of seconds to run, and here it is available on our web browser. Here it is, hello world. What else we can see here is that there is something called lazy loading. So what this lazy loading do is that when we are making an application, so there are multiple functions, and if there is any change in any function, this lazy loading just takes that part and reloads our web browser, not the web browser but our web server, our WSGI interface. It just reloads that, and we not need to manually restart our web server again and again. What else is a part of this? Let me just exit it. What else we can do? We can specify something called eager loading, eager loading, eager loading. I believe yep, that's the correct spelling of eager loading. And now you can see that there is nothing called lazy loading, and if we perform any changes in our application, nothing would happen, and the server won't restart itself again and again. And this is still not to be this is still not the code to be directly implemented in our deployment servers. So let's just exit it as well. there is something else. What it is, if you have to open this Flask application in your local area network, that means you want to see this in your mobile phone or in a web server. So you can also do one thing, but I recommend this to be only done in a trusted network, because Flask implementation is a little bit vulnerable at the moment. We will specify and make it more secure as we will go through our tutorial videos. So at the time being, just run this in a very safe environment where you can trust your all the computers. So we are going to say host is equals to 0.0.0.0. all right, let's just run this. So instead of taking our 127.0.0, it will take our local IP address, and all you need to do is that you just need to make sure that you have a web server installed. Web server is nothing but an application that is available on the net. For example, XAMPP server is there, WAMP server is there, and a lot of things are there. So for the time being, let's just exit. And what's the next thing that we need to see? We need to see that basically what HelloPy is, that it is a very basic Flask program, a Python program. So why it doesn't runs like if we just say Python and we say hello.py, why it should just run perfectly fine, but you can see there is no output. It is because that this is not having a main function. So what we can specify here is something called if __ name is equals we are comparing it is equals to __ main. This is very useful way of writing program when you are defining modules and other stuff. This just gets very useful. And what we need to specify, that we are using app.run, and it is going to take a parameter, just one parameter at the moment. We can also specify multiple parameters. Debug is equals to true for the time being. So let's just save this and run python hello.py. So what this will do, it will start our Flask again. You can just go and see, here is our Flask application. So yep, that's it. What else we can do is that we can see how routing works. Well, now what routing is, let me just make this from hello world to this is an index page. So let's just specify index page. Index page is nothing but a landing page for your website. If you have ever worked in, you just saw that it just got restarted. And what else we need to do, we need to specify our hello world.py. But you can see that instead of hello world, we will also specify this as hello, because there cannot be two functions with the same way. And instead of this being just slash, we will say hello. Okay, so we are the server will restart itself again. Now we will just go to our web server, and you can see this is our index page now. And if we just write slash index, not index, we just specify hello, you can see it is just saying hello world. And if we go back, this is our index page, this is our hello world page. What else we can do is that we can just take a user input. So let's just take user input as well. So let me just specify how we take user input. We specify name, and then what we will do here is that instead of passing it just like that, we would take these two curly braces, and then we will say name. Okay, let's just run this. It will just there is some error in what is the error, because we are having all the things same. So we are just going to change the function name, and it is going to be name. Sorry, because my mic just is blocking my keyboard, so that is why I do this much typo while. And as you can see that because of that error, what happened is that our server stopped, because it was a syntax error. Every logical error is handled differently in Flask, so we will also see that. And let's just say python hello.py for the time being, and you can see there is no syntax error. Now we will go to our hello. Okay, sorry. Yep, let's just go to our hello. And what else we are going to do is that we are going to take it as hello. Let me just take this as, hello Tanishq. I believe, yes, we have got an error, and this is how you get an error. Name got an unexpected argument name. So how we can remove this is, I just figured out that what I was doing, that this value needs to be passed in our function and then it will go there. So let me just save this, and you can see our function is already restarting. So instead of making it, what I will do is that I will just refresh it, and it is saying hello.name, and the name actually needs to go like curly brackets, curly braces, and now it will just run perfectly fine. We are just waiting for this part to run, and now you can see that it is hello name. And if I write my name, for the timing, let's just write Tan, hello Tan. And for all you guys, I'm going to do VIEWERS, viewers, hello viewers. This is, I just felt very good writing this, but all right. So coming to the security point, and telling you guys that why I said not to use this in any deployment server is because there is a very basic attack called XSS, that is a cross-site scripting attack commonly used by all the hackers. And what we are going to do is that we are going to write a script, and just for the timing, let's just copy this and then that, and use a function called alert. We are not going to do anything mischievous or anything that will harm our own computers. So let's just run this and just see that it did not got print, and maybe something just got blocked. Let me just see and allow everything blocked. Nothing was blocked. So maybe site settings, and I need to change something. But if you are using this, you can see that this happens to be an attack, and it just happened in our servers. So still it didn't show us that part, and neither app got printed because this is taken as a script. How we can see it is being taken as a script is that let's just open this part, hello, and just see this script is being printed in another tab, and alert app script. So what any hacker can do, that it can put a very mischievous and miscellaneous script in your website, and your server will go down in the next 10 seconds, and your server will go boom, all the data is gone. You need to pay money, whatever the hacker wants. So how you can make your Flask thing more secure? So what we are going to do is that we are going to import something called MarkSafe. So instead of importing it all, we are going to from markup safe, import escaping. What escaping do is that it just will remove all those miscellaneous scripts from your name. And what we need to do is that we need this thing inside a parenthesis, and what we will do, we will paste it here, and then we will save it. So what this will do, it will just take out the data and show us something else. Let's just write this in just printed escape. All right, sorry, I believe that I have to use, maybe just give me a second and I will be back. Hello, escape goes like all right, so this whole escape will go inside these curly braces. All right, let's just save this and see if it is going to work or not. So let's just refresh this page, and we just got this whole part as a text. So this is how your website gets more secure. Markup safe is something really good, and no one will be able to attack your website now. When we will take input as well from users, we will also see how we can avoid all of these tactics used by hackers. So that is pretty good, and you can just see just got all of this script printed, so he cannot do anything. So what else we have got? We are going to see URLs now, and for the time being, let's just exit this. And all right, yeah, we have exited it. for the time being, what I'm going to do is that I will write all the code and then I will show it to you guys again. And URLs is probably going to be the last topic for today. So see you guys in a while. So I have written all the necessary code, and what we are going to do is that we are going to just see how URLs are handled in Flask. And for this we are going to import something called URL4 from Flask. It is nothing but a similar library. You can just see this is a function and generates a URL to a given endpoint with method provided. So there is we are not hard coding any URLs, but we are just providing users with how we saw / we were entering the name and it was being printed. So there is something that URLs can be a little bit confusing, and this is a very useful function which helps in managing if the URL is for some page, and that page is performing some actions, then its data should be taken, how its data should be taken, when. So that all point can be done using URL4. And what are all the changes? That instead of writing it in our h1, I have just said index, and then I have said login, and then we have changed another just to be more precise, we have changed the document, not the documentation, really sorry, we have changed the parameters, and there is a parameter called user in our URL, and then we will have username, and then it is going to return us username's profile. What changes are actually that it is going to now print with app.test _ request context. What is this? This is another method that is defined in our URL4 function, and it just do something like push and finds all the URL. Basically it is going to find all the URL4 functions. So you can see this is our index function, and / is its URL, and for our login function, login is its URL, and login _ login and next is provided as just a /, and then we are having profile, and we are specifying the username to be John D. And let's just print all of that and run this Python file. So in order for that Python file to run, all the scripts are being initialized. Yes, it will also take a little bit of while, because now our Conda base is getting initialized. We were not using Conda till now, but we are now using Anaconda, and you just can see that this is our /index HTML /index URL. This is our login URL, and this is our next URL, which is being specified as in this part, and this is our John D URL. Then John and %20 is defined as space in HTML. So this is how everything is actually happening. There is these you might be thinking that what is actually use of them, but when making a very big program and we are deciding that if end user is entering something, we want a specific URL to come, and if we are using conditions for URL and to redirect users on different pages, then these are all the things that come very handy, and I just wanted to show these to you as well. So in the next video, what we will do is that we will make a module, and in that module we will write our HTML code. We will see how our Jinja is doing all the magical things that I have told you in the first video. Nothing new in terms of Flask will be there. We will just make some more functions. We will write a little bit more code for Flask and HTML. I believe that I won't be introducing new concepts in that video, because HTML will only be a lot for that video. So thank you so very much. Hope you guys like this video. If you are having any suggestions, or I should change the way I'm teaching, I should change the way I'm speaking, I believe that sometimes I repeat myself, so I'm sorry for that. I'm working on that also. So yep, that's it. Thank you so very much, and stay safe, keep coding. See you guys in the next video.